Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Fantasy Premier League with FPL Wizard. I hope you're all fine, I hope you're all well, and I hope you all had a great game week. Welcome to the live stream, my friends, and we're here to discuss Game Week 8 and answer all your questions. Welcome to the live stream, Peter, FPL Sum, George, Subro, Shalindra. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. By the way, I hope you enjoyed the new introduction. I worked pretty hard on that, and I wanted to show you a little bit of what's the real wizard world, right? In which I, my friend Gandalf, and others like us, we live. Anyways, hey Jonathan, welcome. Hey Puto, welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. The game week is over, and you guys are still here, so I really appreciate that. So we have our first question. Linear says Abraham or Adams. I think Adams is a better option, my friend, because I'm not sure if Abraham is nailed on, right? Marius says hi. Hey Marius, welcome. Runner says, what's your plan for the next game week? Yeah, Runner, we're gonna come to that, right? So before I start taking your questions, I'd like to give you a brief overview of the game week that was, of game week 8. Game by game, according to me, how the game weeks went and how it all was, right? So I'll just give you a brief overview from an FPL point of view, and then we can answer your questions, hopefully. So yeah, the first game, Brighton versus Burnley, was a fairly a boring game, FPL wise. Not too much to kind of note. Tariq Lamptey got 6 points. Charlie Taylor got 8 points. With Ben Mee coming back, Burnley defense can get better. Last season they kept 15 clean sheets, so I'm hoping they get they're gonna keep some clean sheets now with their defense being back, right? Brighton, I'm not so sure. Many of you have Neil Maupay. Many of you might have Leandro Trossard as well. I'm not sure if you should keep them. Just not sure about Brighton. What's happened to them? They started the season well. They were playing well, but there seems to be something wrong in that camp. So the only player I would own from Brighton is Lamptey, right? Excuse me. Southampton versus Newcastle was an interesting one. Everybody was worried about Danny Ings' injury, and everybody said that what's going to happen if Danny Ings gets injured, right? I mean, they did pretty well. I was impressed by the way they started. I mean, Che Adams, that goal was magnificent by him, and even Armstrong played well. Ward-Prowse again had a good game. Kyle Walker-Peters was really good. So I think even without Danny Ings, Southampton assets are not that bad as we were thinking when he got injured, right? So from Newcastle, if you have Alan St. Maxima, I would possibly look to sell him for somebody like Soucek. But if you have Callum Wilson, I would probably keep him if he's not injured, right? He went off with a slight injury. So if he's not injured, I'd keep him. I think Wilson is the long-term asset and a good option. From Southampton, the best options, again, I think their goalkeeper McCarthy is a good option. Kyle Walker-Peters in defense, even Vestergaard if you want, if you can trust a central defender. I think Che Adams is a decent option, and even at 5.5, Stuart Armstrong is a very good option. From Everton versus Manchester United, this game was a little strange. Everton started strong. They scored a goal, but then it was all Bruno Fernandes in this game. I mean, he single-handedly he picked United up, and he scored a couple of goals and he had an assist. He had a brilliant game. And if you were on my deadline stream, guys, I specifically mentioned, I even said that I'm putting my neck on the line a little bit, but I said that Bruno Fernandes was a good option in this game week and in the coming game weeks. I don't even remember. I told somebody to captain him in this game week because he didn't have Harry Kane, so I told him captain Bruno Fernandes. Guys, in the coming weeks, I think Bruno Fernandes is a good option. Look at these fixtures: West Bromwich, Southampton, West Ham. Alright, not the easiest, but Bruno Fernandes plays well in these games, right? Manchester City, difficult one. Sheffield, Leeds, Leicester, Wolves, Aston Villa, Fulham. I think the fixtures are good, guys. I think it might be a good time to jump on Bruno Fernandes. If you are looking at a United asset, I wouldn't look at Anthony Martial or Rashford. I would look at Bruno Fernandes because he's the one who takes penalties. Alright, he gave one to Cavani, but that was just, I think he wanted him to open his account. Otherwise, I think the designated penalty taker is still Bruno Fernandes. From Everton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin again got an assist. There was not too many others who impressed me. James Rodriguez came off, but as Ancelotti said, it was more of a fatigue rather than an injury, so it's fine. Dean was back. I think when Richarlison comes back, Everton can be the team whose assets we can consider again. Their fixtures seem to be good, especially the next 3 fixtures. So if you want to jump on Rodriguez, and if you don't have Rodriguez, this might be a decent time to jump on James Rodriguez. Fulham, Leeds, Burnley. After that, their fixtures turn a little bit, not a little bit, by a lot, right? So this might be a good time if you want to own James Rodriguez, and if you already own him, I'd keep him for the next 3 game weeks and then possibly look to move on. Crystal Palace versus Leeds. This was kind of an anomaly, right? Leeds have been playing really well, and it was kind of... we can't say that Leeds didn't play well in that game. It was just that Crystal Palace was, they scored from a set piece. Actually, Bamford was the one who opened the scoring, but the goal was wrongly called off in my opinion. After that, they had some crazy moments, like Scott Dan header. It was a wonderful header by Scott Dan, and then a free kick. That was a wonderful free kick by Eze. So there were brilliant individual moments in which they actually conceded Leeds. After that, I think in the second half they got tired or maybe switched off a little. From Leeds, I think Bamford is a good asset. If you own somebody like Dallas and Ayling, I would possibly look to move them on. I just don't see Leeds keeping too many clean sheets. And attacking wise as well, I don't see them offering too much. So the only assets I would consider from Leeds is possibly Bamford and maybe Click. None other than that. Crystal Palace, everybody, I think a lot of you jumped on Zaha, Wilfried Zaha. I still feel for the next few fixtures, Zaha might be a decent option. And so let's have a look at their fixtures a little bit. Burnley, Newcastle, West Brom, I think good. Even Tottenham, West Ham. So yeah, if you own Zaha, it might be a good asset. 30% ownership, not bad, right? But from Crystal Palace, I'd possibly look at somebody like Patrick Van Aanholt. He's a little expensive, but the way he's bombing up and down that flank, he might have a haul in him in these couple of games. So if you want to jump off Trent Alexander-Arnold, one defender I might be looking at is Patrick Van Aanholt. Not saying that I'm going to get him in, but a good option. Other than that, who else do I like? Although Eze scored a goal, he got an assist, I still don't feel that he's viable as a fantasy asset. Moving on, Chelsea versus Sheffield United. Timo Werner should have had a hat-trick in this game, guys. He had amazing chances. Hakim Ziyech put him through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. I'm not sure how he missed that chance, but with Hakim Ziyech coming into the Chelsea team, they have become very, very strong attacking wise, because he can unlock the defenses with his amazing passing skills, and he gives them an added dimension which they didn't have with Kai Havertz or Mason Mount or any other person who played in the midfield. Hakim Ziyech is levels above all of them, especially in the field of through balls and lofted passes and stuff. It's good news for Werner owners, because Timo Werner is the one who's going to benefit from all those through balls. And also good thing is Werner is now on penalties for Chelsea. Even when Jorginho is on the field, I think Werner has been given the number 1 penalty taking spot. So I think Werner is a good asset from Chelsea. Obviously Hakim Ziyech. Chilwell, I think at the moment he's the number 1 defender to own. He had 3 shots on target, and he was very close to getting a couple of goals. He did get 1 goal, and he could have got another one easily. So I think Chilwell is a very good asset. Any of you who own Reece James, I would breathe easy, because I think Reece James is now close to nailed on. Because with Hakim Ziyech starting, he gives them this technical security on that side, and Reece James can bomb up and down the flank. So if you own Reece James, I'd keep him. Sheffield United, again, abysmal. They scored a wonderful goal at the start, but after that they were just not in at the races. So if you own any Sheffield United players like Ryan Brewster, or if you own somebody else, I'm not sure who else would you own from Sheffield United. Maybe Aaron Ramsdale, but other than that, if you have Brewster, his 4.5, you want to keep him, fine, but I don't see him getting too many returns, especially in the difficult fixtures, right? Moving on, I'm sorry if I'm not answering all your all your questions if you're writing in the chat. I'm not even reading the chat, guys. I'm just gonna give you a brief review and come back. West Ham versus Fulham game was very interesting, guys. I mean, so many people jumped on West Ham assets. Mostly, everybody wanted, like I wanted to go for Antonio, right? But he was injured, so mostly people went for the defensive assets. Some of you even doubled up on them. Cresswell, Kufal, Balbuena, and you know, Fulham were lucky. West Ham were lucky not to concede a goal even from open play, and attacking wise they looked good. Jared Bowen looked really sharp. He looked better than Pablo Fornals. I tell you, he had a couple of amazing shots on goal, and you know, with these coming fixtures, Jared Bowen looks better than Fornals for me. Fulham had a penalty right at the death. First Souček scored a goal in the 91st minute, and then Fulham got a penalty right at the end. I'm not sure. It was so unlucky for Mitrovic owners. I'm not even sure why Ademola Lookman was taking the penalty in the first place, but it was such a bad penalty. I mean, the kid looked distraught after the game. You know, he was. But the thing is, if you want to take a panika, you know, the whole point of panika is to con the goalkeeper with your run-up. You don't stutter and take a panika. You just run fast and then you just, you know, kick the ball slow or something like that. I'm not here to discuss the technique of panika, but I was all wrong. Everything was wrong about that penalty. It was unlucky for Mitrovic owners, because I think Mitrovic has to be the #1 penalty taker now again for Fulham. Assets I liked from Fulham, none at all. From West Ham, guys, Cresswell, Kufal, and Jared Bowen, as I said, and when Mikel Antonio comes back. These are the assets. Masuaku, not so much. At the same price, I think Kufal is better. Balbuena, if you want to go for somebody under 4.4 or 4.5, you don't have the extra 0.1, you can go for somebody like Balbuena. But I like the look of Kufal at 4.5. And Cresswell, of course, I do like. Fabianski had a stupid penalty save, but from their defense, I think 1 is enough, right? And in attack, if Antonio comes back, he's the one to go for. West Brom versus Spurs. I mean, everybody practically captained Harry Kane or Son in this game. It was a very strange performance by Tottenham. I think West Brom were the better team. The way they were passing, they dominated the midfield. And if you don't see the matches, guys, this is what I give you the summary for, right? Eye test is so important. I watched the game. Spurs were amazing. West Brom were amazing in this game, and Spurs were being dominated all over the field. But if you have players like Harry Kane in your team who can actually win you the game, this was an individual kind of, you know, he scored a brilliant header at the end. And but otherwise, I think West Brom were good in this game. Spurs now have 3 difficult fixtures, and you know, it might be time to jump off one of them. I'll talk to you about this after I give this review. But Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal, I mean, there's 2 home games in there. So, you know, it might not be a bad idea to keep at least one of their assets, because later on you might want to jump back on them, and their ownership is so high. If they bang, it might go against you. So I'm just of the opinion that we should not sell both of our Spurs asset in game week 9. Possibly one if you want to, right? So moving on, other than Harry Kane and Son, I just don't like any assets from Spurs. I don't like Doherty, I don't like Reguilon or anybody else, so not talking about that. West Brom, not going to talk about any assets because there aren't any. Pereira didn't play because he's tested positive for coronavirus, and so yeah. Leicester, Jamie Vardy had 2 penalties in the game, and he scored 1, he missed 1. Other than that, Jamie Vardy looks really sharp, guys, and I tell you that, you know, if you want to transfer out Harry Kane, this is a brilliant kind of, you know, opportunity. In game week 10, you transfer out Harry Kane, you get Jamie Vardy. So he's got Fulham, Sheffield, Brighton, Everton. Brilliant. Game week 13, and then you can just get back Harry Kane after his difficult run. Maybe after game week 13, you get Harry Kane for Leicester, Wolves, Fulham. So it might be a good idea to kind of transfer out Kane for Vardy in game week 10 and then get him back in game week 15, and they are both in good form, so that might be a good option for you. Wolves, guys, I just think that Wolves are just lacking so much. I'm not even sure why their manager insists on subbing out Podence at 60th minute. I mean, Podence was one of their most creative players. He was having a decent game. I just don't know what Nuno has against him, and why does he continue to play Pedro Neto over Podence. But if you have Podence just like me, it's just feel that it might be a time to move him on, because I don't think he's ever going to get more than 60 minutes. So I just think there's something there, and might be a good time to move him on in the next couple of game weeks. The next game, Manchester City versus Liverpool. It was a fantastic game. What a spectacle! It was spoiled a little bit by the VAR calls and people just complaining about VAR. I think the Wolves were unlucky to concede that penalty. Kilman conceded the penalty. Dennis Pratt was trying to cross the ball. He was right next to him. I mean, the distance would have been 1 meter. Where are defenders supposed to put their arms anymore? I just do not know. But this was less of a penalty than was Joe Gomez's one, because I feel it hit him on the arm. And nowadays, don't complain about the officials, don't complain about the VAR, guys. It's about the people who make these decisions. If they say that when the ball hits your t-shirt line or your sleeve or something like that, so that's where you have to consider the penalty or something. So the rules are wrong. It's not about the VAR or the referees, it's about the rules. They need to change the rules now. But this game was good. Gabriel Jesus, if he meant that turn, it was like Bergkamp turn, right? If he meant that, it was amazing. He scored a good goal and he's back. So Manchester City have a striker now, and they have some good games coming up. So we can definitely consider one of their players. From Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold got injured. Wasn't doing much anyway in this game. And other than Salah and Mane, I just don't think any other sets appeal to me. Diogo Jota is an amazing option, guys, but at least we need to know that whether he's a regular starter or whether he's going to start a couple of games, then he's going to be benched. If he's starting regularly, Diogo Jota might be a wonderful option from Liverpool. Last game, Arsenal versus Aston Villa. It was so painful for me to watch as an Arsenal fan. Aston Villa actually dominated the game. I think Aston Villa play much better when they're up against a so-called bigger team, right? In which they are having to sit back, defend, and then spring on the counter. I think this is where Ollie Watkins, Jack Grealish, and all these guys, Barkley, they're so good at. Against smaller teams, not smaller teams per se, but against teams like Southampton, in which the onus is on them to attack. They are not maybe that good. Against bigger teams, they're better, but they absolutely destroyed us. And I think the best asset from Aston Villa is not Ollie Watkins, it's Jack Grealish. I honestly feel that he could have had 20 points in this game. Some heroic blocks and some on the line, and I think Jack Grealish is the one to own from Aston Villa. From Arsenal, I still feel that there is some value in their defensive assets, but after yesterday's performance, it put a little bit of doubt in my mind. But I still feel that Bellerin can be a good option. Other than that, I just don't want to look at anybody from Arsenal. So I hope I gave you a decent summary of all the games, guys. I'm coming back to the chat and I'll read your messages now. Let me have a drink of water, please. All right, I'm back. So I'm sorry if I didn't answer your questions, guys. I was just summing up, and I hope you enjoyed this summary as well. And now we can talk about your questions. Jonathan says, Lookman, I think he owned him. Peter says, I actually think that penalty may have been the worst I've ever seen. The Kilman one was very, 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 very wrong. It's just killing the game. Joe Hale says, Townsend, Podence to Ward, Prowse, and Ziyech. Good. I think, yeah, you can do it, my friend, but Townsend has some good fixtures, so I'm not sure you want to jump off Townsend. But if you want that, Ward-Prowse is in good form, and Ziyech is obviously I like the look of Hakim Ziyech from what I've seen of him. Puda says keep Kane over Son. I think so. Since Kane is on penalties, right, it gives him the added advantage of getting some points in a game in which Tottenham are not playing well. Zod says, Podence played very well. Sad he doesn't get the trust he deserves. To be honest with you, I agree with you. I just don't know what's wrong with Nuno trying to give him a full game. Thomas says, having only Son, not Kane, I'm still very tempted to swap in Bruno. Thomas, I think I would be too. If I had Son in my team and didn't have Kane, I would be tempted to swap him for Bruno as well, my friend. Karthik says views on Hazard. Karthik, I think Hazard is a very good option from City, and depending on the other assets like Sterling and Kevin De Bruyne are more costly than him. So I think Jesus can prove to be a very very shrewd pick, right? And he could be a differential since not many people have him. So yeah, good idea. Amrit says I forgot to make two changes 2 weeks straight. Got 84 points with that. Lucky me. That's good, my friend. It sometimes tells us that our teams are good and we don't need to kind of change them so much every week, right? So congratulations for that windfall, my friend. Keep going. Joe says Townsend already answered that. Halim says last 2 game weeks I was in the top 800k. Now I got a big hit and I'm in 1.2 million. To be honest with you, Halim, and there's not much difference between 1.2 million and 800k. It might be 10 points, my friend. So you don't need to be worried about that. Just keep going. Make a strong team. Don't worry about the points you get right now. Just focus on building a strong team for the upcoming game weeks, and the overall rank will improve. Don't worry about that. Puda says best replacement for Robertson under 5 million. To be honest with you, under 5 million, I'd currently look at maybe Kufal, right? I think Kufal, Tariq Lamptey is good. Kufal is a good option. And who else would I look at? I think Kyle Walker-Peters is a good option as well. And I like the look of Konsa as well. I mean, if you want an Aston Villa defender, Konsa can be picked. I think he attacks from corners and he has a good chance to get some points attacking wise as well. Yeah, Jethro says Crystal Palace assets. Jethro, to be honest with you, I don't think that there's many viable assets in there. Maybe, because the thing is Jordan Ayew is around 6 million, right? And at 6 million you can get somebody like Bamford, you can get somebody like Che Adams. So I feel that there's not many good assets in there. Maybe their goalkeeper Gaeta. Patrick Van Aanholt is the one I'm really interested in. Other than that, not so many, my friend. Matt Hanley says, what about a punt on Richarlison for the next 3? He had a decent stats before the red and he is on pens. Matt, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if Richarlison is on pens. I think he took the pen because he wanted to open his account for the season. I'm still not sure if he's on penalties, but if you want to take on punt on Richarlison, you can do that if you don't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But if you already own Calvert-Lewin, I just don't think that it's viable to have 2 Everton strikers, right? So in my opinion, if you don't have Calvert-Lewin, you can take that punt. So Zodiac says if a player is 4.2 million in FPL on FPL statistics and to drop to 4.1 million, but in my team he is 4.1, will he drop to 4 million or stay at 4.1 million? Zodiac, he'll stay at 4.1 million. So if he's 4.2 and for your team to sell him is 4.1, if he drops in price to 4.1, it won't affect you at all. Caleb says KDB for Son. Caleb, if you want to, I think KDB is a good option for this game week, right? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the City fixtures. I think City fixtures are turning after this game week, so you might want to keep Son for one more game week because it's a fixture for KDB versus Son. After that, Burnley, Fulham, guys, home games. Look at this: Burnley home, Fulham home, West Brom home. 3 home games against 2 potential relegation candidates, my friends, Fulham and West Brom. I mean, this might be a good time to jump on City assets. Maybe game week 10. I mean, this might be a good time to catch the fixture swing and get some points, make up some ground for your overall ranks. So yeah. Zodiac says nice, thanks. You're welcome, Zodiac. Cancelo is the next big thing, says Zodiac. I think I really like the look of Joao Cancelo. The only problem is, I'm still not sure if he's nailed on, because he's playing at left back and sometimes he plays in the midfield. If he was nailed on, I think 5.4 million Joao Cancelo is the best Manchester City option. If you want to ask me about the most nailed on option, I think Kyle Walker is the most nailed on. Ruben Dias might be nailed on, but I just don't like the look of him. He's a central defender, just defends, doesn't attack too much, so yeah. Peter says, I really don't want Zaha, but he seems like the perfect Mahrez replacement. To be honest, Peter, for the next few game weeks, if you want Zaha, you can get him. I feel that Hakim Ziyech, James Rodriguez, and somebody like Jack Grealish are better options than Zaha for the long term. So, yeah. Jethro says important to keep Calvert-Lewin for their next 3 fixtures, right? Jethro, in my opinion, my friend, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a season keeper. He is playing in a team. I mean, he might not be the best striker around, right? But he's playing in a team with James Rodriguez. There's a lot of creativity in there, and he's going to get chances, and he's putting away these chances. So unless Calvert-Lewin blanks for 3 or 4 game weeks, I don't think we should sell him. I think we should stick with Calvert-Lewin until he runs out of he has a bad patch of form. Until then, we stick with Calvert-Lewin, in my opinion. Mike says, I did Wilson, Rodriguez, Size to Richarlison, Eze, and Chilwell. Was that a mistake? To be honest with you, Mike, in the international break, I think there's lots of things that's going to go on. Like there might be coronavirus problems, there might be some injuries over the international break. I just don't like making early transfers in the international break. But if it was because you wanted to catch the price rises and the price falls and stuff, so I understand. But out of those 3 players that you transferred out, I would actually like Rodriguez for the next game week against Fulham. I mean, I would never transfer out Rodriguez in the game against Fulham. But you've already made the transfers. No point in kind of fretting about them now. I think the players you got, Richarlison and Chilwell, are good options, definitely. So I don't think that's a big problem there, my friend. Zodiac says Mendy is injured and Zinchenko is horrible. Zod, let's keep some watch, and if you think that he's starting Cancelo, then definitely I think he's a good option. I missed a message. I think Buckshot says he's ranked 176 in my league. That's fantastic, Buckshot. Congratulations, my friend. Thomas says, thoughts on Leeds' defensive assets? Not sure I should keep or move Dallas to a 3.9 to 4.5 million or up to Cancelo Diaz. I already have Robertson, Chilwell, Lamptey, and Kilman. To be honest with you, Thomas, you have a decent defense, right? And if you kind of don't want to play Leeds defenders, you can leave them on the bench. If you didn't have other players to play in those positions, I would possibly recommend you a transfer. But you already have playing players, right? Your other four defenders are playing. So if you don't want to waste a transfer there, you can possibly keep them. I would, if I had Dallas, I would possibly keep him on the bench unless I didn't have any other problems in my team and my transfer was getting wasted. I would possibly stick with Dallas. Peter says, I have Ziyech, Grealish. I'm just not sure about Rodriguez. He's only got 3 good fixtures left. Yeah, I mean, that's true, my friend. But, Zaha is kind of weird. Even that day, he got a lucky assist. The entire Leeds defense was kind of sleeping. Otherwise, he was just not in the game. He was going to blank that day, I felt. He was just not in the game too much. But Zaha is kind of very sporadic. He can get a crazy haul and then he can go blanking. So yeah. Jonathan says, Zodiac, I think Chilwell is too expensive to buy now. Zodiac, I don't think Chilwell is too expensive to buy now, my friend. I honestly feel that Chilwell is the number 1 defensive asset to go for at this moment in time. You might feel that he's expensive, but the potential, if he keeps a clean sheet, he's definitely on for an attacking return in these easy games, and I think he's gonna be so highly owned that he can turn into a sword for your team if you don't own him. Jethro says, thanks bro, you're welcome, my friend. Matthew Brown says, Gabriel Jesus good asset. Matthew, I think yes, he is a good asset. I think he can be a differential, and he's going to start games for Manchester City because Aguero is not fit, and the upcoming fixtures make him a really good asset. I agree with that. Hang on guys, let me have a drink of water please. By the way, please like the stream if you're having fun. If you're enjoying it, please like the stream. I'll be back. Alrighty. David Pereira says, keep Rashford or Son. I mean, I don't see any reason to transfer out Rashford. Son, if you want to keep him, possibly you can keep him. If you don't have 2 Spurs players, and you can stick with Son. But if you want, you can transfer him out for somebody else as well. But if I had only 1 Spurs asset in Son and I didn't have Harry Kane, I would possibly keep Son. I would possibly do that. Peter says, I made my transfers purely because my team was really bad and stressful to know I could fix terrible logic, but it actually felt so satisfying. Now that's fine, my friend. Each to his own, guys. As I say, there's no one right way to play FPL. Everybody has their own ways and, different ways to succeed in this game. Starting defenders in my team: Chilwell, Lamptey, Mings, Robertson. To replace Robertson with Vestergaard when Anholt, Cresswell or Cancelo. But to be honest with you, I'm tempted to say Cresswell or Cancelo, my friend. I think if I had to rate them, I would rate Cresswell or Cancelo number 1. If he is nailed on, definitely Cancelo, Cresswell, Anholt and Vestergaard possibly 3rd. Caleb says, so I keep Son for two transfers in game week 10. Possibly. I mean, you can keep Son for the game against Manchester City. There's no big deal because, City is going to play an attacking game and Son can get space behind them, right? So if Kane can release Son, I think Son can score a goal against Manchester City. There's not a problem with that. Manchester City haven't looked the best, attacking-wise or defensively. They're looking more defensively solid this season, but attacking-wise, they don't look so good. So if you want, you can keep Son, I think. Thomas says, thanks a lot, you wise old wizard. You're welcome, my friend. Thank you for being here. Jethro says, will you use your wildcard? Jethro, no, I'm not looking to use my wildcard. I think my team looks pretty good for the upcoming game week. So I'm going to possibly save my wildcard until game week 16 or game week 15. And then I'm going to target the double game week and the blank game week that's going to come. So that's when I'm possibly looking to kind of move on in the ranks and give my team a proper push to move up to where I want to be. So I'm keeping my wildcard for now. But if at any point I feel that my team is not good and I'm not satisfied with my team, then possibly I'll use my wildcard. But it's still in my back pocket, not going anywhere. Zod says, I still think Trent Alexander-Arnold will end as the highest scoring defender. He's a lot worse now than last year after 8 game weeks. Let's see. To be honest with you, Liverpool defense just don't look that good anymore without Van Dijk. So it's hard for me to kind of make out what Trent Alexander-Arnold can or cannot do, my friend, but let's hope for the best. Matt says, doubled up on Chilwell and Reece James. I agree that Chilwell looks great for the money and Reece James is very cheap if he continues to start. To be honest with you, the comments by Frank Lampard about Reece James were very encouraging. He said that we bought Hakim Ziyech so he could play with Reece James and Reece James could push on, and Hakim Ziyech gives us the technical security on the right hand side, so Reece James has the freedom to kind of bomb up and down the flank. So I think Frank Lampard looks at Reece James as a long-term option. I think we should be encouraged, definitely. Zod says, I will transfer out both Son and Kane. That's fine, my friend. If you want to, you should go with that. I have nothing against that. I'm just telling you about my own team. Possibly, if I had to, then the thing is, I'm not sure about what's going to happen to Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? So if I was sure that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be fit for the game against Leicester, so I would possibly keep Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then I would move Son to somebody like Bruno Fernandes or maybe James Rodriguez, whichever I want to go for. I haven't made up my mind about which player I want because it's such a long international break and there's so many things that can happen. But if Alexander-Arnold is fit, then there's one transfer and my team is ready for the game week. I don't need to make any more transfers. But if Trent Alexander-Arnold is injured, then possibly I could take a hit. I could transfer both of them out, or I could keep Son for this game week and possibly move Trent Alexander-Arnold on for somebody like Joao Cancelo, which I don't like too much because I only want nailed on players. So it could be for Cresswell, it could be for Kufal, because I haven't made up my mind about who I want to transfer in. Because I don't even know if Alexander-Arnold is going to be fit for game week 9, but that's my plan. I'm not going to touch any other part of my team. I think I'm happy with Grealish. I got him in last week and his fixtures now look amazing, so I'm happy with Grealish. I'm happy with Salah, he's not going anywhere. Calvert-Lewin I'm happy with. Kane I'm going to keep until the next game week when I might move him on for Jamie Vardy, who plays Fulham in game week 10. So yeah, I've got a clear plan of what I want to do this game week. These are the two players that I'm possibly looking at. Alexander-Arnold is number 1 to go out, and maybe Son for Bruno Fernandes, but we'll see what's going to happen, my friends. Alrighty, so Pura says Game Week 10 plan to bring in Roddy for Kane and De Bruyne for Son. That's fine, my friend. I like that plan. And remove Zaha for Ziyech in Game Week 11. That's fine. I like that plan, my friend. Amit says, any point of still keeping Jorginho? He comes on for 10 minutes. Amit, I don't see any point in keeping Jorginho. If he's not in penalties, I would transfer him out. Absolutely. I think it's a good time to move on to Souček. Noel says, should I do Jimenez for Dominic Calvert-Lewin? I just don't like the look of Jimenez and how Wolves are playing. It's not about Jimenez. I think he's doing well. He's pressing. He's trying his best. He just doesn't get any service, you know. I mean, even against the smaller teams, they just don't look attacking such good attacking wise. Wolves look good defensively, possibly, but not attacking wise. So if I had 8.5 million stuck in Jimenez, I would be tempted to move on. Definitely tempted to move on, my friend. Peter says, biggest trap transfer at the moment. Highly transferred person you'd avoid. Poor people. Let's see who's the most transferred in player for this game week for me to give you this answer, my friend. So highest transferred in is Ziyech, number 2 Fernandes, Chilwell, Grealish, Westergaard. I guess it's very easy for me to say Westergaard because you know, I already have Kyle Walker-Peters. But to be honest with you, I think Zuma could be the one which people are going for, and I want to avoid. Diogo Jota is the one I want to avoid at the moment. There's lots of transfers happening in for Diogo Jota, and I might want to avoid Diogo Jota as well because, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if he's nailed on in that Liverpool team. I think Klopp played him because it was an important game, and he wanted, he wanted to have some attacking. Attacking players on that pitch together. But, until and unless Diogo Jota replaces Firmino, I don't think he's going to be nailed on in that Liverpool team, my friend. George says, Wiz, I have Kane, Son, Bamford, Bruno, Grealish, Salah, Zuma, Chilwell. I think my team is set up as I'm captaining Bruno against West Bromwich Albion. George, your team looks fine, my friend. If I had your team, I would possibly captain Bruno Fernandes as well. So, good luck for the game week. And plus Dominic Calvert-Lewin, that makes it even better against Fulham. So yeah. Zod says, last year Liverpool had only 2 clean sheets after 13 weeks. Zod, I know what you mean. But then Van Dijk was getting attacking returns. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, all were getting attacking returns. Alexander-Arnold hasn't got any attacking returns. Maybe 1 assist this season. So I just don't think, Liverpool defense is the same without Van Dijk. Peter says, I didn't realize Lampard said that. I transferred out Reece James because I couldn't rely on him starting. Well, I did say it on my deadline stream as well, my friend. But, if you transfer out Reece James but you have Chilwell, I think it's fine because I wouldn't double up on the Chelsea defense because I just don't trust them to keep enough clean sheets, right? Although they had kept 5 clean sheets before this game week. But still, I think 1 Chelsea defender is enough, in my opinion. Caleb says, Bruno Fernandes or KDB? That's a very difficult one, Caleb, because both of them have a fixture swing. But if I wanted to go for one player right now, I think Bruno Fernandes is the one. I feel KDB just doesn't look, he looks like 95% at the moment. He just doesn't look 100%. There's something wrong. Maybe it's the City team, maybe the way they're playing, maybe their injuries are affecting their team. But I still feel that Bruno Fernandes has more potential, But come the next few weeks, City have great fixtures against Fulham and West Bromwich Albion at home. That is the time when I would possibly consider, KDB. But for the next game week and the next few game weeks, I think Bruno Fernandes could be a better choice. David Pereira says, Podence, Rashford and Saïs. I want to get rid of 2 of them, and Grealish looks like a must-have for the next 5 game weeks. I think, yes, you can say that Grealish is one of the more important players to own at the moment, and if you want to move them on, I think Foden and Saïs are the ones that you should be transferring out, because Podence at least starts, right? He gets the minutes. Saïs is not starting, and Foden hasn't started for the last 3 game weeks, so those are the 2 I would possibly move on. Pura says, who is your Trent Alexander-Arnold replacement? I'm looking at a lot of options, my friend, and one of them is Hector Bellerin, one of them is Patrick Van Aanholt, another one is Cresswell and Koufal, So there's lots of options, but I haven't made up my mind because there's an international break and lots could happen. So maybe Trent Alexander-Arnold would be fit after the international break and we won't need to transfer him out. So why bother about a problem which you don't know you're going to have, right? So let's wait and watch and see what happens. But if he's not fit, I've got a plan and I'm gonna update you guys on that. Matt Hanley says, Peter, I still think Ricch James could miss out in some games, maybe when Azpilicueta suits the opponents more. Maybe in a big game, right? Maybe in a game against Manchester City or somebody like that. But I think even if Ricch James gets rested for one big game, I still feel that at 5 million it's a good idea to own him. If you already have him, I wouldn't transfer him in, but if you have him, I would keep him. Westergaard is from my country, says Zodiac. All right, that's nice, my friend. He's doing well in FPL this season, so congratulations there. What to do with Sterling, Thomas? That's a very difficult one to kind of say because Sterling hasn't been in the best of form, but his fixes are turning now, and I just don't want to say that transfer him out, but if you kept him for this long and if you stuck by him through these fixtures, I think now wouldn't be a good time to sell him. I think he could haul in these coming couple of game weeks. Not against Spurs, maybe not, but then the next game is against Fulham and then West Bromwich Albion and Burnley at home. I think the fixtures are turning for City, and if you have Sterling, if you have stuck by him till now, you can possibly keep him. So yeah. Aleem says, Leeds defense really start to make me worried. Aleem, it's fine. I mean, 4.5 million defenders are, they give you 7 to 8 clean sheets a season. I think it should be fine. And Leeds look well on course to keep more than 6 to 7 clean sheets. So I think we should be okay with that, right? I mean, we should not expect too much. But if you don't have any other problems in your team and you have a free transfer to kind of to fix that, I would possibly move them on because I just don't think that Leeds are going to keep enough clean sheets. Attacking wise, they might get some returns, but I would possibly move them on for somebody like Kufal, Konsa, Tariq Lamptey, because there are good options in that category, right? Jethro says, should I get Ziyech? I don't have him in my team. Jethro, if you want to, I think Ziyech is going to be a long-term option in FPL. Just because he has so many attributes, different attributes. He takes set pieces as well, free kicks, and he has the ability to score goals, provide assists. I think he's a good option for FPL, and especially at the price that he's at, I think he's a great option. Mark says, how do you feel about Cancelo and other City defenders with their good fixtures coming up? To be honest, Mark, the only City defenders I would consider is maybe Aymeric Laporte. Because I think when he's fit, he's nailed on. Or maybe Kyle Walker. Cancelo, if you can be sure that he's nailed on and he's going to start, then Cancelo is a very, very good option. At 5.4 million, a City defender, fantastic, right? But I'm just not sure if he's going to keep starting, right? So, because he's not traditionally a left back, he's a right back. And, Pep is playing him there because he doesn't like Zinchenko and Mendy is injured. But let's see what happens there. But if you are sure that Cancelo is nailed on, I think he's a good option. I think he's good. Shalinder says, don't go for Kufal. I had a disappointing eye test. To be honest with you, Shalinder, the thing is, why I'm saying Kufal is because, look at his consistency ever since he's starting for West Ham. 5, 4, 7, 1, 8. And, he's a lot among the bonus points as well. He's got 3 bonus points against Manchester City. He got 2 against Fulham. Even though he didn't pass your eye test, right? But he still got 2 bonus points. So quietly, he's doing all the things which are required in FPL to succeed. And at this price, I think he's a good option, to be honest with you. I think he's a better option than Masuaku or Balbuena. So that's why I said that. But I possibly wouldn't go for him. I like my defender to have 2 dimensions, right? I want my defender to be able to attack, and I want my defender to be able to give me clean sheet points as well. With Cresswell, I get both because he takes free kicks, sometimes he takes corners, and he overlaps Masuaku and puts in a decent cross. So I just like the look of Cresswell better than Kufal. But if somebody can't afford Cresswell or they want to invest elsewhere, so he might be a secondary good option. Matt Henley says, would you still get Bellerin? Arsenal fan. Matt, I am an Arsenal fan, but that's not the reason why I'm saying positive things about Bellerin. Arsenal didn't have the best performance against Aston Villa, and I would be the first one to admit it. I was really, really disappointed by the way we, played against Aston Villa. But I think the way Arsenal are playing, I think Arsenal have the potential to keep 10 clean sheets, maybe 8, 9, 10 clean sheets this season, and Bellerin does have this additional advantage of an attacking asset, which I just said I want my defenders to have. There are not many attacking defenders this season which I am looking at. Semedo is not that good, and 8 Nori, maybe he's gonna become good, but right now he's too raw for me. And who else? Cancelo, maybe if you want to. Kyle Walker, not interested. Trent Alexander-Arnold not doing anything. So there are not many attacking fullbacks that I want to go for, right? Kyle Walker-Peters, I already have him, and who else? Leeds Ayling, I have him not doing anything. So that's why I feel that Bellerin can be a good option, and at 5 million, not a big risk to take. So yeah. Hang on, guys. Let me have a drink of water, please. I think I've been talking too much. Vice says, going below average for the past 2-3 weeks. Should I replace Pulisic with Ziyech? I think Vice, if you're worried about the price fall of Pulisic, you might want to do that. To be honest with you, I feel that in any case, Ziyech is a better FPL asset than Pulisic, in my opinion. The reason being, Pulisic is a one-dimensional player. The only way he can score points is by winning penalties, by making dribbles, by making runs, but from open play, right? Ziyech gives you the added option of set pieces, assists, goals. So I think he's a better option than Pulisic. So if you don't have any other problems in your team, I would possibly do that. Zodiac says Watkins, Antonio or Wilson. Zodiac, I'm tempted to say Ollie Watkins, but if Antonio is fit, then I would possibly say Antonio. If Antonio is not fit, then Ollie Watkins. Because the thing is, I think Ollie Watkins is the kind of player who's going to be very strong when Aston Villa play against a big team and they are counter-attacking, because he's a good finisher, right? But against smaller teams who basically hold up the play, I think it requires somebody like Grealish to open up their defense, and Ollie Watkins is not that effective against such teams. What I mean to say is, like teams like Burnley and Sheffield United, Ollie Watkins might not be that effective against those teams. He might be better against teams like Arsenal, Spurs, United, like teams who attack, and Aston Villa have to counter-attack. So in my opinion, out of these, Antonio number 1, Watkins 2, Wilson 3. Pai says I had Walker-Peters and Lamptey on my bench, instead I played Tierney. To be honest with you, my friend, I had Walker-Peters on my bench too, so I understand the pain. I had Walker-Peters on my bench and I played Trent Alexander-Arnold, so and I played Podence as well, so it was a mistake in hindsight, but I never expected Walker-Peters to score 9 points. I expected him to at most get 6 points in that game, but these things happen in FPL, guys, so we need to be it's fine, right? So Faiz says Trent out for 4 weeks. So if he is out for 4 weeks, then I think it might be a good time to move him on. So yeah. Zodiac says, what is your job, Viz? Zodiac, I do lots of stuff, but technically I am a teacher, right? So but I like graphic designing, I like programming, I do lots of stuff, but my real life job is that of a teacher. So yeah. Caleb says I had Kyle Walker-Peters on bench this game. Yeah, for so many of us, my friend, it's just very hard to predict sometimes, Unfortunately, guys, this is a problem, right? I mean, if you have a good team, for example, all my defenders were playing in this game week, right? And they all had good fixtures. I didn't know who to pick. Sometimes it happens, guys. For example, Taylor had a good game. Ayling had an okayish game. Chilwell obviously had a good game. I had to put him in anyway. Kyle Walker-Peters had a decent game, but I was gonna play 3-4-3, so I had to put 2 of them on the bench. Now the thing is, I just didn't have the courage enough to put Trent Alexander-Arnold on the bench, which I should have done in hindsight. He's 7.4 million. That's the reason I played him, and that's not the right way to play FPL, guys. So I made a mistake there, and I admit that. Zodiac says it makes sense what you say about Watkins versus Antonio. That's my opinion, my friend. I watched a lot of Ollie Watkins in the championship last season, and also of Antonio and how he does. I think Antonio is the kind of player who can play well against any team. Watkins a little bit less, flexible than Antonio. Peter says, I have no clue how Kyle Walker-Peters got 3 bonus points. I guess it was about the tackles and stuff and interceptions, which gives you a lot of BPS when you are a defender, my friend. So guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please consider liking and subscribing. I barely got to 2,000 subs and last season, last deadline stream, and I thank you all for that. So yeah. Puda says, what to do with Wilson? Replace with Bamford or Watkins? To be honest with you, Puda, I would wait, my friend. If Wilson is fit, I don't see any reason to get rid of him. But if you think that Wilson is not fit and he's going to fall in price, and that might affect you, right? So I would possibly go to Watkins for the short term. But if you want to keep somebody until the end of the season or something like that, then Bamford is the better option in my opinion. But looking at the fixtures of Ollie Watkins, I just can't look past Ollie Watkins. Brighton, West Ham, Newcastle, Wolves, Burnley, West Brom, Crystal Palace. I think Ollie Watkins is the better option than Bamford for these game weeks, because I think Leeds have difficult fixtures over this period. Arsenal, Everton, Chelsea, West Ham, very difficult games. Manchester United. So definitely go for Watkins over Bamford. I mean, Bamford can score here, but we need to look at form and fixtures, and Watkins ticks both the boxes. So yeah. Matt says, I hope Antonio recovers quickly as he's in my team. Doesn't seem worth transferring him out since I'll want him back when he's fit. If you've stuck by him for this long, my friend, I would possibly keep him, because I think over the international break he can be fit. I think he has a kind of a hamstring problem, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that should give him enough time to fix him, because it's not long term. Puda says Kufel or Cresswell. In my opinion, if you have the money, go for Cresswell, my friend. I don't have any doubts. I mean, Cresswell struck the crossbar from a free kick, and from open play, he just looks more dangerous, my friend. So go for Cresswell if you have the money. Definitely go for Cresswell. What to do with Podence, says Khaleesi. Hey Khaleesi, this is the first message I'm seeing from you, so welcome to the live stream. I think Podence needs to go, in my opinion. I mean, if I had a free transfer to kind of waste, and I didn't have other problems in my team, like for example Trent Alexander-Arnold, I would consider moving Podence on to somebody like James Rodriguez, or maybe even Souček. I would just like to move Podence on. It just doesn't make for a good viewing. When you're watching the game and your player gets subbed off 57 minutes, 60 minutes, 65 minutes every game, it's just not good for being an FPL manager. FPL managers have a hard time anyway, and on top of that, you keep worrying about a player who is not going to play 90 minutes. I think he needs to leave my team as soon as possible. So yeah. Puda says, who would you bring in Antonio for Wilson when fit? Puda, to be honest with you, if you have Wilson in your team, I would possibly keep him if Wilson is fit, because over the season, I think Wilson can match Antonio. I think Wilson has this capability. I think he's going to score the similar points to Antonio if they both stay fit. So I wouldn't transfer him out for Antonio if I had Wilson in my team. Although it might be controversial, but that's my opinion. Zod says 2,000 subs. Yeah, finally, Zod. I've been struggling to get these last 50 subs. I was stuck on 1950 subs for ages, and it was hard for me to kind of get past the line. But thank God that I'm past it. Not that I'm too worried about these numbers and stuff, but it just feels right, and it feels good to kind of get over the line when you're looking at them. I look at West Ham fixtures, says Peter, and they're not actually that great. But I do want Antonio. To be honest with you, Peter, I agree with you. I think Aston Villa fixtures are better than West Ham's. But Antonio, I think is a good asset, and still Cresswell, I think he's a decent asset. Other than that, Soucek, obviously 4.9 million enabler. So these are the players that I look at from West Ham. Jared Bowen just impresses me so much when I see him play. I mean, if I had a good team value and if I had money in the bank and a transfer to waste, I would possibly move for Jared Bowen. But if Antonio is fit, then there's no other asset that I would consider over Antonio. Zod says, I agree, you deserve many subs. Thank you so much, Zod. I appreciate that, my friend. Faiz says, my midfield, Salah, Son, James, Pulisic and McGinn. Still don't know why I'm going below average. Faiz, don't worry about it, my friend. Sometimes, even if you have the best team, it doesn't turn into points that very game week or the next 2 game weeks. But if you have a good team, it's going to give you points. Over the long term, you're going to be fine. For example, I'll give you an example of a manager on Twitter. I don't remember. I think it's Holly Shan. I think it was Holly Shan's team, FPL community on Twitter. She had a couple of really bad game weeks, and she stuck by her team. Like, she had a game week with 46 points and game week with 39 points. And this game week, guys, with the same team, she got 95 points. So if you have a good team, stick by your team. Don't worry too much. If you have good players, they're going to give you points. And, as I always say, don't change your team too much. If you have a good team, if you don't have a good team, you change your team. If you don't get good points, but you have a good team, you don't change your team. You stick by your players and they're going to come good for you. As a manager, you have to trust your players, right? Khaleesi says, yes, it's Holly. So yeah, so FPL community, Holly Shand. Finally, after two bad game weeks, she stuck by her team, guys. And that team gave her 95 points, and that's fantastic. That's how we should all play FPL, guys. Patience is a virtue. All the time, every time, in any situation in life, I guess. Alrighty, I hope I'm answering your questions. Let me have a drink of water. Alrighty. So for my team, guys, let's have a look at my team for game week. Oops, I did something wrong, I'm sure. There you go. No, again. I don't know, I just keep making these weird mistakes. Hang on, guys, I'm just going to show you my team. If I just do pick my team for this game week, let's see how my team is gonna look like. There you go. Soleiman says James to Grealish. Soleiman, I wouldn't do it, my friend. I think Grealish is very important to have, but in place of James in the game against Fulham, I mean, James is gonna play Fulham. Why do you want to transfer James out, my friend? I think I would keep James for this game week. If you want to get Grealish, get him for somebody else, not for James, not for the next 3 game weeks, in my opinion. Faiz says, do you live in India? Brotherly question from Pakistan. Yeah, Faiz, I live in India, my friend. I actually live right next to you. I live in Punjab, my friend. So yeah, I live in India, and Punjab in India. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it, my friend. Matt says, early days, but who would you say are the top 3 must-have players for the next game week? Matt, to be honest with you, hang on. Let me have a look at the fixtures before I can answer this question. So let me show you as well, so we can talk together through this. Right. So who has the best fixture next game week? I think Grealish. I'm tempted to say Grealish. I think Grealish is going to do well against Brighton, because Brighton try to play football, right? They don't sit back and defend, and Grealish does well against such teams. So I say Grealish and Ollie Watkins both can do well, but I'm tempted to say only Grealish. Obviously Everton assets can do well. I'm not going to say that he is Dominic Calvert-Lewin or James Rodriguez or Richarlison are the top one of the top 3 to own, but they can do well in this game week. I think Bruno Fernandes, or one of the United assets, I think can be one of the top 3. So I say Grealish, maybe Bruno Fernandes. Who else? Newcastle, they play a deep defensive line, so I just don't want to say Timo Werner. But Hakim Ziyech could do some damage in this game, in my opinion. But I'm not gonna say that. Who else? No, not this game. Not gonna call this. Liverpool, Leicester. Not sure about what Mo Salah's record against Leicester is, but I I would like to say Salah. I would like to say Grealish, Salah, and Bruno Fernandes. You tell me your picks, guys. Who 3 players do you think are going to do really well the next game week? In my opinion, I say Bruno Fernandes, Salah, and Grealish. Khaleesi says, so you live near me too. And that's great, my friend. That's great. I enjoy so much you, and I thank you all for coming here, guys. FPL brings us all together. No borders, no communities, no color, no nothing, guys. We are all together in this, and this is brilliant. You know, we're all wizards here in it. Atul says, great live stream, Viz. Thank you, Atul. Thank you for being here, my friend. Suleiman says, Son to Grealish. I mean, if you want to, Suleiman, that might be a decent move to make. Actually, Son has a fixture swing, and after these game weeks, you can possibly get Son back. I mean, if I had only Son in my team, I didn't have Kane, then I would find it hard to transfer him out. But if you have Kane, then this move could be done. Caleb says, I absolutely love these live streams. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, my friend. Linear says, hey, Pakistan gang. Yeah, that's cool. I enjoy it, my friend. We're all brothers here. Jonathan says, Son to Bruno and keep Kane. That's what I would do, Jonathan. I think that's a good idea, my friend. I think Bruno Fernandes long term is a good option, just like Son. I think Bruno Fernandes is a good option for the long term, and it's a good idea to have Bruno in your team for these fixtures. West Brom looked really well, played really well against Spurs, so I'm not saying that Bruno is going to bang this very game week, but with these good fixtures for United, I think Bruno Fernandes is a good player to have. Jedi says, you got Bamford. I'm sorry, my friend, I didn't understand the question. Suleiman says, size to Dean. Suleiman, I don't think that Dean is the best option, my friend. Because he's not taking corners anymore and he's not taking free kicks anymore, that makes him a tad too expensive for me. If you want to go for an Everton defender, I think Michael Keane is your man, or Seamus Coleman might be your man. Dean, not so much. Excuse me, guys. So Dean, not so much. If you want to transfer out Sias, and you should go for somebody like Chilwell, I think that's better at the same price as Dean. Jedi says Nandes and Werner. My friend, Jedi, I'm sorry, I'm not able to understand your question, so if you can just be more clear, then I'd answer that. Zod says, DCL, Grealish, Abraham will score next week. I think so. I think so. Abraham, I'm not sure if he's going to start, but Calvert-Lewin and Grealish, I think so. Top 3 replacements for Robertson, any price range. Chilwell, who else? To be honest with you, the thing is, there's not many good defensive replacements, right? But I'm tempted to say Chilwell, Cancelo, Joao Cancelo, and who else? I'm not gonna say Cresswell or Kufal because I just don't think that there's too many West Ham clean sheets coming. But Cancelo, Chilwell, and one more, just out of my mind who to say. Peter says James and Chilwell double up. Peter, I wouldn't double up on Chelsea defense, my friend. I think one is enough. Phantom says Ziyech, Bruno, and Cresswell. I think Ziyech is a good shout. Bruno, Cresswell, good shout. I think Cresswell can be replaced by Grealish, but that's a good shout, Phantom. Buckshot says my 3 are Bruno, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or Richarlison, and Grealish. I agree with that, my friend. That's a nice pick. Bamford's clawback was disgusting. That's true. I mean, I already talked about that. It was a very bad decision. I mean, if a striker can't point where he wants the ball and he's gonna get called offside. I mean, to be honest with you, if Bamford scored the goal from that part of his arm, which he was called offside for, then that's gonna be called off for handball. So what is a striker supposed to do? If he points, then he's called offside. If he scores with that part of his arm, then he's called handball. So I mean, that's really bad. They need to change the rules. It's not about VAR or about referees. It's about the rules, guys. So, yeah. David Pereira says Foden, Son to Ziyech, Grealish. David, I think that's a good move, my friend. Who knows what's going to happen with Foden and Son. They can score some points, but on paper, that Ziyech and Grealish move looks good, in my opinion. Okay, respect, guys. Thank you so much. Linear says, who should I replace for Son and Kane, and also who should I triple captain? my friend, don't triple captain in a single game week. There's gonna be double game weeks, and this is a long season. Do not waste your triple captainship. So, in my opinion, no triple captain for the upcoming game week. And if you want to replace Son and Kane, I think Bruno Fernandes gives you a really good option to replace Son. For Kane, I think Vardy in game week 10 gives you a really good option. Straight swap from Kane to Vardy and back to Kane. So Bruno Fernandes and Vardy. I think that's your call. David Pereira, I would do that, says Zod. I agree. Fai says, are you on Twitter? Yes, Faiz, I'm on Twitter. If you can see my Twitter handle on the screen in the top right hand corner box. You can see my Twitter handle, and it's also in the description. So follow. Jonathan says, I'm your biggest fan from Africa. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I really appreciate you being on the live streams. You like all my posts on Twitter. I really, really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much. Peter says, like the stream, guys. I agree that. I agree with that. Gavin Stu says, it is very smelly around here. I don't understand what you mean, my friend. So if you can elaborate, I would be able to answer that question. So if you have any other questions, guys, hit me up. Otherwise, we can wrap up the stream. I think the stream has been going for around 1 hour now. I think I've made pretty good time, guys, today. Generally, we take a long time to answer the questions, but I think we've done pretty good in the 1 hour. Puda says Wiz has all the answers. Yeah, I hope so, my friend. Actually, the thing is, I actually watch all the games. I read all the stats, so you don't have to do all the hard work. But if you want to take my advice, guys, if you don't have time to watch all the games, and I understand that completely, because life is busy sometimes, right? Watch the match of the day or the highlights of the games. I mean, that's the most important thing. The eye test, I think 80% weightage I give to the eye test, so it's very important. So if you can't watch the games, if you can't read all the stats and stuff, just watch the match of the day and the brief highlights of the games. That'll give you lots to think about and ponder, and that will help you get your instinct right. Jonathan says, not FPL related, but did you see the way Tierney tripped and fell? His body malfunctioned. To be honest, that was strange, isn't it? I saw that. I don't know what happened there. It was weird. It was funny. Yeah. Lucas says, great stream. Thank you so much, Lucas. Azad says, are you satisfied with your swap from McCarthy to Martinez? I was actually from Ramsdale to Martinez, my friend, and finally he gave me a clean sheet, so I'm happy. But ever since I got Martinez in, Ramsdale has started performing well, and I'm of the feeling that we should never waste a transfer on keepers until and unless we are on a wild card. It was a rush of blood, a bad decision to take a hit for a keeper transfer from me. So I put my hands up, guys. I take full responsibility. I shouldn't have done that. Most recommended transfer this week, Peter. It's hard to say because everybody has a different team, right? But I think Bruno Fernandes should be in most of our teams. If you don't have Grealish, I think you should get Grealish. If you don't have Bruno Fernandes, you can think about getting Bruno Fernandes. In game week 10, get Vardy, guys. Definitely. Dakla says, I'm late, but your thoughts on a -8? Welcome, Dakla. I'm glad you're here. Trent, Podence, and Son for Cancelo, Grealish, and KDB. To be honest with you, Dakla, I wouldn't do it for this game week. For this game week, if you want, you can just get Cancelo and Grealish. For Son to KDB, I would possibly wait for one more game week because Manchester City are playing away to Spurs. The only player I would recommend from these three you want to get is Grealish. I wouldn't get Cancelo and KDB for this game week. I still feel that Spurs can score a goal against Manchester City. So and it's not gonna be a very high scoring game, that one, in my opinion. So no for me. Lucas says, cheers Wizard, watch the FPL Wire podcast the other day, great pod. Absolutely, as I told you, Lucas, that's the only pod that I recommend, and that's the only pod that I actually listen to when I get time. The only reason why I don't listen to pods is that I don't want my opinion to get influenced by somebody else, and I don't want to be speaking the same words that other people are speaking on other pods. that would make this live stream and my videos less ingenuine, and I just don't want to do that. But if I had the opportunity, and if I wasn't doing these live streams, I would definitely listen to the FPL Wire. It is a fantastic podcast. So much FPL information there. Suleiman says Bamford to Watkins. Possibly, Suleiman, if you want to. I think Bamford long term is a good option. But if you want to target these upcoming fixtures, then possibly you can do that. Vice says, which national side will you support during the international break? Faiz, to be honest with you, I just don't watch the international games. I just find them too boring, and I kind of take a break from FPL, and I try to recharge my batteries. I just I kind of ignore the international games a lot, and I don't think that's a good idea to do. But I just read the news and the scores, and I don't watch the games. Jayant says, but Tierney had a fantastic game. Tierney is a fantastic defender, absolutely, but that incident was funny. Yeah, he created a couple of chances, and Lacazette missed that header as well. I think Tierney is a fantastic signing for Arsenal. Agree with that. Matt says, agree with you on watching the highlights. Watch the West Ham highlights, and Cresswell looked much better than Kufal, but many would go for Kufal because he got more points this week. Absolutely. I mean, the same way I could say about Tottenham versus West Bromwich Albion. I mean, Spurs won 1-0, and they were just totally dominated by West Brom all the game. West Bromwich dominated the midfield. Spurs couldn't get the ball. West Brom was playing so well, but if you don't watch the game, all you see is Doherty assist, 12 points, Kane scores a goal, get 9 points, and you be done with that. But if you watch the game or you watch the highlights, you know that what happened in that game. So in my opinion, that's very important, my friends. If you want to do at FPL, don't trust what anybody else says. Just watch the highlights, and that'll help you a lot. Pratik says, super confused. Ziyech for Rodriguez or take a -4. Get Robertson out and replace Bruno with Rodriguez. Pratik, the first question, my friend, is why do you want to take out Rodriguez? I think he has a great fixture against Fulham. I would keep Rodriguez. If I was you, I wouldn't transfer him out this game week. Against Fulham, why would you transfer out Thomas, my friend? So he has a haul in him, Pratik. So if I was you, I would keep him. Mark says, I can't get Watkins without a hit because I have 2 Aston Villa keepers. Is the hit worth it, or should I settle for Bamford? Hang on, let me see who Leeds play again. I just keep forgetting. Leeds play against Arsenal. To be honest with you, my friends, it's a difficult one to say because, I think if you keep Bamford for one more game week and you kind of get Watkins after 1 week, I don't think it's the end of the world. So I think if I was you, I would keep Bamford and get Watkins. If you really want to get Watkins, get him after 1 week, my friend. 1 week won't make that much of a difference, in my opinion. It could go horribly wrong, but that's what I think. Alrighty. Pura says, wildcard should make sure to get the second keeper from the same team of your starting goalie. But you see, Puta, that's right what you're saying. But you see, that created a problem for Mark because he's got Steer and he's got Martinez, and then he can't get Grealish and Watkins. So there isn't any one way to play FPL. There are many ways. But if I wanted to get 2 keepers, possibly I always just go for a cheap keeper who's less owned, so that he is not going to fall in price. And I go for the 1 keeper who's going to play. There's very, very less chance of what people say in FPL. I think it's the best example of overthinking. If you think that 1 keeper gets injured or 1 keeper gets red carded and whatever, and then the other keeper you have, I think it's just overthinking. If your keeper gets red carded or injured, just transfer him out. Other than that, just get 1 keeper and get another non-playing keeper in your team. Ishtiaq says, are you regretting not signing Ziyech? Ishtiaq, not at all, my friend. Why would I regret not signing Ziyech? I've got Grealish. Look at his performance against Arsenal. I think Grealish could have had 20 points against Arsenal the way he was playing. He was unlucky, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy with my signing. Yes, I might want Ziyech in the upcoming weeks, but over Grealish, I wouldn't prefer him. I still feel that I made the right choice, my friend. Matt Hanley says, yes, Rodriguez out before Fulham seems crazy. Everton will have Richarlison back as well. Yes, I think if you have James Rodriguez against Fulham, I wouldn't transfer him out. Never. I think Bamford is better away from home. Khaleesi, that depends. That depends on the opposition they're facing. I think against Arsenal, Bamford has a chance to score as well. But, you know, I think long term, Bamford has the potential to get 15 goals, 20 goals a season. The way he's going, right? Until he turns back to the old Bamford that was playing in the Championship last season. The way he's putting off his chances this season is fantastic. Suleiman says Taylor to Tyrone Mings. You mean Taylor? Which Taylor you're talking about, my friend? The Burnley one? Of course, I think you are talking about the Burnley one. If you have a Burnley defender, I would possibly keep him until and unless you really want an Aston Villa defender, my friend. Because I think with Ben Mee back and Tarkowski, I think Burnley is going to improve defensively. Pura says, will Cancelo be nailed on? I wish I knew, my friend. I wish I knew about Cancelo. If he was nailed on, he would be in my team in a flash, in a jiffy. But I'm not sure if he's nailed on, right? So let's see what happens. Jonathan says, Wiz, sell Trent and get Ziyech. Gonna think about it, Jonathan. I to be honest with you, I haven't thought about my transfer yet. Over the international break, I just relax and I let things play out a little bit unless I'm going to be hit with the transfer and or the price falls. And maybe if I see that Trent is falling in price, I would move early. And guys, if I do move early and I make a transfer, I'll update you on Twitter and I'll update you on Discord. Maybe after the stream tonight, I'll sit and think about my team and make a transfer. But whenever I do, I'll update you guys. So don't worry about that. Pura says, time to sleep, Wiz. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream soon, my friend. I think it's gonna. I think we've had most of the important questions answered, and I think it's been a healthy and a nice stream, guys. Yeah. So Jen says Son to Bruno for a hit. Maybe, Jen. If I was you, I'd possibly do it. It's hard to advocate a hit anytime, but I think Son has 3 difficult games and Bruno has 3 good ones, and I can see Bruno outscoring Son by 4 points in those next 3 games. So yeah, why not? Jayant says not sure completely about Bruno fixture after the West Brom game. Jayant, I think you don't need to be worried about the Bruno fixtures. Bruno is the kind of a player who's going to do well against anyone and everyone. So yeah. Suleiman says thoughts on Jota. Suleiman, I think he's not nailed on yet. If he was nailed on, the only time Jota is going to be nailed on in that team is when he replaces Firmino. Until that time, I think we're always going to be unsure of whether he's nailed on or not. Namrit says I brought Ziyech and Adams for Nato and Wilson. To be honest with you, I think Ziyech is a good option. If you had money, I would possibly go for Ollie Watkins over Adams, but I think they're fine, my friend Namrit. But if you had the option, I would possibly choose Ollie Watkins over Che Adams at this moment in time. Jayant says thanks. You're welcome, Jayant. So yeah, I think at this moment in time, the best cheap strikers position is between Ollie Watkins and Bamford. I think Che Adams is fine, but I feel that Bamford and Ollie Watkins are better based on what they've done until now. Che Adams has been consistent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love having him in my team, and he's giving me very good returns. So I have no problems with him. But I think the fixtures are turning now for Che Adams, and now is not a good time to get him in. Wolves, Manchester United, Brighton, Sheffield, Arsenal, City, maybe a Fulham good game in there, but very difficult games there. I don't see any green ones here on the fixture ticker, guys. So might not be the best time to get Che Adams in. For now, I think get Watkins. Suleiman says, how many points this game week? It's right on the bottom of the screen, my friend. I got 73 points, and the total is 469. So yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin for Che Adams. Shilendra, if you want to, you can do it. Yeah, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is close to important now because they've got 3 good fixtures, and Fulham are bad defensively, and I see Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring against Fulham, definitely. Against Wolves, Che Adams might find it hard to score than Dominic Calvert-Lewin against Fulham. So yeah, in my opinion, yes. Prateek says, I have Chilwell and Cresswell. Who's going to be a good replacement for Robertson? To be honest with you, Prateek, if I had Robertson, I would possibly keep him, my friend. I think he's a good option. But if you really want to get rid of him, and you already have Chilwell and Cresswell, I think maybe Joao Cancelo can be an option. Even Hector Bellerin can be an option if you want to take a little bit of a risk. But Joao Cancelo seems to be a very good option at this moment in time. I'm tempted to take a couple of other names, like I can possibly take a couple of other names, but I just feel that defensively, none of the teams are looking very secure at this moment in time. You can possibly talk about somebody like Semedo, but Wolves have difficult fixtures as well. So I'd say Cancelo is a good option. Dakla says, "Are you getting rid of Trent?" Dakla, I'm going to hang on. Let me. I think we should go and check the price rises, right? Give me a second, guys. Let's check the price rises and who's going to fall and who's going to rise. And hang on. I'm going to refresh this page. And by the way, guys, the website which I'm checking these prices on is called FPL statistics.com. Statistics.co.uk. You can go and check the price rises, and this uses a machine learning algorithm to kind of predict the price falls and rises. So Grealish and Watkins are obviously on to rise tonight, and that's expected. Armstrong, I think, going to be very close. Bamford, Ziyech, I think they all are pretty much going to increase in the next couple of days. But the problem is, I'm going to see what's happening with Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm not sure. Alexander-Arnold. There you go. So it's minus 93.9, guys. I think there's a big possibility that tonight or tomorrow, Alexander-Arnold is possibly going to fall. I think if you have Trent Alexander-Arnold, and if you kind of don't want to risk whether he's going to be fit, whether he's not going to be fit, I think it might be a good time to move him on, guys, because I think in the next couple of days, maybe tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, certainly day after tomorrow, he's going to fall. So tonight. So if tonight he doesn't fall, then tomorrow he's definitely going to fall. So if you want to transfer him out, guys, always keep checking this website, guys. It's going to help you. It's going to help you lots. One more thing I wanna focus on, and I had opened this for you guys, and it's important to have a look. This season, my strategy, my friends, is to focus on my captain points, right? So that's the reason I wanted to show you this. Until now, at the start of the season, in my deadline stream, before Gameweek 1, I said that this season my strategy is to nail my captain picks, guys. That's all I wanted to do this season. And if you nail your captain pick, it's very, very likely that you're going to have a good season. So although you can see I didn't have the best captain returns, right? By the way, this website is Premier Fantasy Tools. So you can search Google for Premier Fantasy Tools. There's lots of free tools for you here. You've got a mini league analyzer, you've got your team analyzer, you've got your captain pick analyzer. So this is called Premier Fantasy Tools. And the thing is, I went after my captain blanks. I didn't want to have any captain blanks, guys. So Aubameyang, all right, gave me a decent 14-10. Then Salah gave me 10. Then a couple of really good scores, 26, 32. Again 10 for Kane. So there's a couple of 3 10s, 12 in there. But come on, guys. I mean, at least we don't have a 2, 4, or a 6 in there, right? And I feel that it's the most important aspect of FPL, and I think it's one of the most ignored aspects of FPL as well, because I just feel that people just don't focus enough on the captaincy of FPL, and I think it's important. So Dakla says, "Are you getting rid of Trent?" Possibly, Dakla. I think I have to get rid of Trent soon, and if I do, I'll update you on Twitter, and I'll update you on Discord. Possibly I'm gonna do it tonight, but I'm gonna think after the stream. I just Spura says, "Gonna miss your live stream cause of the international break. Wiz, miss that deadline stress live stream." Hopefully, my friend, I won't have to make transfers on the live stream every time. It just it's too much stress. Linear says, "Underrated YouTuber. How do you only get 30 viewers per stream?" I'm just glad I get 30 viewers, my friend. I'm not even sure I deserve that, but I'm so happy that 30 people are willing to listen to me, my friend. It's very important, and and I really appreciate it. Dakla says, "I saw somewhere he's out for 4 weeks." We're gonna talk about that, Dakla. I'm gonna have a look about Trent Alexander-Arnold. If I see that he's out for 4 weeks, possibly I'm gonna move him out tonight. Or who? I don't know yet. I'm gonna update you guys. Jeetaria says, "Fernandes or Sterling?" Bruno Fernandes, Jeetaria, definitely. Dakla says, wow, 0 blanks. Yeah, that I was lucky a little bit. Captaining Aubameyang this season. What was I thinking? But I'm lucky that it turned out well. Aditya says, thoughts on Werner as a differential captain. Aditya, the thing is, I think Werner is a good captaincy option, but let's talk about the game. Newcastle is a team who plays a deep defensive block, right? Werner is the kind of a player who's going to excel when he plays against a team who plays a high pressing game or a high line. Against a defense that sits back and defends. I don't think Werner gives you the ability to head the ball. I don't think he gives you the ability to kind of dribble past 2 or 3 players and score. I think he's a fantastic finisher, and against Newcastle possibly not, because I think this game week we've got some standout captaincy options. I'll tell you one, Mohamed Salah. Hang on, actually what I'll do for you guys is I'll see Salah's record against Leicester. So I'll update you guys and I'll let you know what Salah's record against. I'm sorry, I'm not reading the live stream. I'm kind of doing something. Hang on. I think. Sorry, I think apologies for the display, guys. I was trying to check Salah's goals against Leicester, and obviously the live stream seems to be going a little haywire, but I'm gonna check it because I think it's very important for us to know the proper stats of Salah against Leicester before we can decide who's the best captaincy option this season. So this game week, I'm sorry guys, just focusing on I think I'm not good at multitasking sometimes. I try, I always fail badly. Alrighty, so against Leicester, Salah has not the best record, 6 games, 3 goals. So not the best. But yeah, I think Salah is a good captaincy option regardless of what his record is. I think outside Bruno Fernandes, I think Bruno is a very, very good captaincy option for this game week. Outside that, possibly, guys, do you think we could go for somebody like Aston Villa? I mean, if you want to take a punt, why not somebody like Grealish? You could take a punt on Grealish as well. Jitara says Watkins or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I mean, if I had a choice, I would go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, definitely. Priyan says, is DCL essential? I mean, Priyan, I never say anybody is essential. To be honest, that's not my style. I feel that this game can be played in many ways, but yeah, it's close to essential, or it's a good idea to have Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dakla says, thoughts on James Rodriguez as a captain punt? Dakla, it's very hard to say. Not because he's not a good player, not because he hasn't had hauls in Premier League. I'm not sure how fit he is because he came off with fatigue, right? So I'm just not sure whether he's going to be fit enough or he's going to be sharp enough. So in my opinion, if I had that choice, I possibly wouldn't. But that's my opinion. Leicester have looked pretty decent in defense though, but yes, it's Salah. I mean, Salah is not the best option for this game week. I think Bruno Fernandes seems to be the standout one, and I think if this game week could be the one for differential captains, because there is no one standout option, so everybody would go for a different one, and could be the week for the differentials. Syed says, I'm going for Grealish captain. Nice. Aditya says, imagine game week 1 Salah captain also. With Aditya, that was so close to going Salah captain. I decided I kept flip-flopping between Salah and Aubameyang, and I thought Aubameyang was a good option against Fulham. It's just bad that Arsenal are not playing too well attacking wise, but Willian got many points in that game. Peter says, I honestly don't think Grealish is a punt for this week. Yeah, I think Grealish, we should start thinking about Grealish in terms of better valued players, right? Just because he's like 7.34 million, that's the reason we don't consider him for captaincy. But come on guys, the way he's playing this season, I think we should start considering him for captaincy. And I think there's good returns to be had from Grealish this season. For me, I possibly won't captain Grealish because I'm trying to nail all my captaincy picks, so I'm going for the safer picks this season. But I think Grealish is a good option. Peter says he's a good captain in my opinion. I agree with that. Priyan says, is Eze a good alternative to Zaha? Priyan, I don't think so. I don't think that Eze's returns the way he returned in that game week are sustainable. So in my opinion, we need to watch a little bit more of Eze before we can actually say that he's a good option. Peter says, will Dominic Calvert-Lewin end up as another Pookie? Says Puta. I don't think so, my friend. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin has too many good players in his team who are willing to supply him with good balls, and he's going to score. He's a great header of the ball, and he's improved his finishing. I think he's going to be fine. He's not going to be another Pookie. Gitara says replacement for Son. Gitara, I'm tempted to say Bruno Fernandes. I think that's a very good replacement. If you don't have enough money, you can downgrade to Grealish or James. All good options, my friend. Even Ziyech, good option. Matt says, may even captain Rashford or Fernandes if I bring him in. Matt, that's a fantastic option. I mean, if you have Bruno Fernandes against West Bromwich Albion, possibly not going to get the same amount of points he's got against Everton, but I think he's the safest option. The best, who knows? This is a very strange season, but I think he's a safe captain option. Priyan says, thank you for answering my questions, mate. You're welcome, Priyan. I always try to answer all the questions here, my friend. Jitara says, who's your captain? Jitara, I haven't done my analysis. I haven't had the time to analyze this season. I mean this game week. So I think it will be wrong for me to categorically say who's my captain. I'll do my research, and before the next game week, I'll post my video with my analysis. So I'll let you know. At this moment in time, I think from my team, I think Grealish seems to be the best option for my team. Or maybe Salah or Grealish at this moment. But if I make some transfers, then I might change it. I'm on a wild card, says Fagiolo. If I transfer Son, I lose 0.3. I would buy him back for the 16th game week. Would you recommend to transfer him out? Fagiolo, I think 0.3 is not an issue here. I mean, if you just want to keep a player for 0.3 for the next 7 game weeks, I just don't think that's a viable option for FPL. Yes, if you think that he's going to give you points, or if you value him as an FPL asset, you can keep him. But just to maintain your team value, I don't think we should be playing for the team value. I think we should be playing our game, and team value can just help itself, take care of itself. My team value isn't the best this season at all. I mean, because the past few seasons I used to have 104 million team value by now, but then I was struggling with the ranks and all these things. So this season I'm just focusing on captains, and just trying to play the game with the best team I can possibly muster without having to worry too much about the team value. So in my opinion, for the next 7 game weeks, just for the team value, no, you should transfer him out if that's your concern. Matt says, only issue is Bruno away from seems much better if you read the... I mean, it's not about Bruno. I think United's home form is abysmal this season. I don't know what happened to them. They lost to Spurs, they lost to Crystal Palace, and maybe somebody else. I'm just not sure. But I think United's home form seems to be bad. And, but I think that's going to improve. Guys, let's let Wizard sleep. Give him the break he deserves from all the gaming stress, says Puta. Yeah, just the problem is, Puta, I just enjoy talking about FPL so much, and it's hard for me to kind of shut down my stream categorically because it's just so much fun, and this is what I love doing, and and it's very hard for me to kind of cut the stream. But I think the last 5 minutes or last 10 minutes, and then let's just finish the stream. So yeah. Marius says, I have Martinez, Chilwell, Ailing, Saiss, Zaha, Salah. Oh, Marius, to be honest with you, my brains can't process that. I'll read your question. Benches, Nayland, Justin, Mitchell, and Nagisa. What should I do? To be honest with you, I think your team looks good for the next game week. If you want, you can possibly, transfer out Harvey Barnes or Son, for somebody like Grealish. That's what I would do. Gitaria says, what team do you support? I support Arsenal, my friend. Lacazette captain for this game week. Slender, I think you must be joking, my friend. Lacazette, who owns Lacazette? And even if somebody does own a dead team, who would captain him? Nah, he's just joking. He's just trying to make fun of Arsenal, I think. No Arsenal captains for the next foreseeable game weeks, my friends. The only teams we should be thinking about is Liverpool, City, Tottenham, all these teams. Tottenham, no. I'm an Arsenal fan. I can't say Tottenham. Anyways, Jonathan says, yeah. Alrighty, guys. So this was the aftermath stream, right? So I talked a little bit about the game week. I watched all the games, so I gave you a brief summary. So if anybody missed that, you can go back to the start of the stream, in which I give a brief summary of all the games, and after that I answered a few questions. So Yep, I guess it's time to end the stream, guys. I really hope you had fun. And when's the next stream, says Pura? I think the next stream is gonna be sometime next week, because this week I'm just gonna take a break and relax and stuff. The next stream is gonna be definitely gonna be one more stream before the deadline stream. So maybe Wednesday or Thursday next week seems to be a good time after all the matches are over, so we can talk about any possible injuries or suspensions or anything like that. So yeah. So guys, I think it's a good time to kind of end the stream. Jitara says thanks. Matt Anley says great stream. Thanks for responding to everything. You're welcome, Matt. Jonathan says good night, Wiz. And Fagiola says great answer. Would you do a wildcard draft? Yes, I will include a wildcard draft in my next video, Fagiolo. So you can have a look at my next video, and a wildcard draft will be in that. Aditya says thanks, Wiz. Good night. Jitara says good night. Jonathan says bye, Wiz. Stay safe. All right, fellas. So thank you so much for being here, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Take care of yourself over this international break and relax, recharge your batteries, and we're gonna go again. We're gonna talk FPL, guys. FPL Wizard signing out. Thank you so much for being here and watching the stream. Bye bye.